From the battle cries of Yo Joe and Cowabunga, we have a peek into the future of G.I. Joe and the Turtles of Grayskull. So join us as we multicast with special guests. It's Chad right now on Toy Habits Live. And before we go live, smash that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a beat. Hey everyone, welcome back to Toy Habits. I'm Michael.
And I'm the Toy Sorceress, and you're watching Toy Habits Live. How's it going, Michael? Happy Hanukkah to you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we are also joined by our special guest. It's Chad. So for viewers that are not familiar with you, why don't you intro yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
It's me. It's Chad. Right? It's real simple. I'm a 22-year still serving member of the U.S. Army, and a lot of that's because of my lifelong love of G.I. Joe. I say a lot that a real American hero shaped my entire life because all I've ever done since I've been an adult is be in the Army. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's me. I'm a real big fan of dollies and shelfies and vehicles and play sets, and basically my thing's real simple. Like, if you love it, do it. If it makes sense to you, don't worry about what anybody else is doing. And big fan of just toys should be fun. Like, keep toys fun. That's it.
Totally.
That's
totally.
Awesome.
Well, it's finally getting to meet you over this, which is great. I think we all share a love of G.I. Joe, and man, your collection is just rocking it back there. It's huge.
Appreciate that. Oh.
Wow.
Awesome. All right. Well, cool. So let's before we dive in too much further, let's give a quick hello to our Toy Habits crew, and want to send a special shout out to the action figure archaeologist last week. He gifted 20 memberships to 20 viewers yesterday. So that was
That's awesome.
super nice, and just very, just took us by surprise. It was very nice of you, our action figure archaeologist. So
super generous.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, and then so we have we have a mixture of folks in here from your channel and our channel. That's what makes the simulcast cool.
So yeah, it's neat. Like, it's the first time I've tried it, and I was like, you and I were talking about it. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work.
I know that, like, the technical, I'm like, the technical side. Yeah, they did make
it really easy to do.
Yeah, totally. Well, awesome. All right, you wanna run down the chat, Toy Sorceress?
Oh, sure. We got the Cutthroat Comics is here. V. Connolly, Frank Pryor, one of our awesome crew members, is also in the house. We got Stanley's Toy Channel, another great crew member. Pendergrass Design and Toys. Bash
He's
Studios
my graphic
is here.
designer.
Oh, cool.
Shout out to Joe Coleman. Happy Hanukkah to you, Joe Coleman. Hope you're doing well. Speaking Moistly is here, and Speaking Moistly, I love your little avatar. It's my favorite view of Merman from Filmation. That's great. Robert's Infinite Realms is also here. Eddie Rodriguez, Samuel Edwards, TJC, Bigham, one of our crew members, is also in the house. Dan Diego, friend of the channel. Good to see you, Dan. How you doing? Paul Morales is also here. Robert Alessandrini, one of our original Toy Habits crew members, is in the house. Good to see you, Robert. The Collector is also here. Joshua Robbins, crew member, is here. Allison Troy, Retro Princess, is also here, one of our crew members. Great to see you, Allison. George Atkinson, Skyfall, is here as well. Andrew Davis, Bear 11, Charlie, Just Jeff, and so many more.
There's a lot.
Because there's a lot of people in here. But I am going to give a shout out to Joshua Robbins for being a member for 1 month. Congratulations. Thanks for helping support the channel. And wish I can go through all the names, but I don't want to bore everybody. So let's So have you guys had a good weekend? I know it's, the holiday season is upon us, and things are happening. So
yeah, it's been pretty good, pretty low key so far, which is nice. Just kind of leading into the holidays. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. I had a huge celebration with the family yesterday. Got to host in our new house. I cooked brisket for the very first time, and it turned out like melt in your mouth delicious. So I was pretty proud of that.
Making me
Thank
hungry.
God, I've never made it before. So we had a great time, exchanged gifts, enjoyed our meal, and yeah, it's fantastic. So, and have you had a good weekend thus far, Chad?
I'm busy. I've been super busy.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's finally home from what she's doing. She's in the Army as well. She's
wow.
also an man, and she's been super busy. So we're just kind of catching up, trying to spend some quality time together. We don't have our Christmas tree up yet, so we're just whatever. We're just taking our time with it. It's cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. That tree takes a
I
long
bought
time.
myself a lot of toys for them to wrap and give to me on Christmas, though, because that's how I do.
Yeah,
I didn't do that this year, but that's always fun.
I always do it. I'm like, here, wrap this and give it to me.
Have you guys ever done like something you know you weren't going to get, and so you bought it for yourself and just wrapped it because it was like the holiday time and put like
always,
from Michael to Michael or something like that, just so you can have the fun of opening it, even though you
usually my wife says, what do you want? And there's always like one thing on my list of toys to pick up that I want it, but it's either like pricey or something. So I use it as the Christmas thing. And last year was a Palatoy Action Force Red Shadows Shadow Track. And I was like, I just want a Shadow Track. And she was like, okay, here you go.
This boy down too, because this one came from my awesome partner, Michael, for Hanukkah. So nice of him. I have not gotten to open this beefy boy yet, and we're using that term now. Beefy boy. That's what he said on the last stream.
The Joe's big. They were talking about the beefy boys.
Lots of beefy boys. So yeah, he's collection.
That Monstar is impressive. I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw it up close at Joe Fest this year. And it's good looking figure.
I just got the H.I.S. tank unboxed. Maybe we can do a little live demonstration of it later in the show.
Yeah, there's been a lot of comments. Yeah, people are getting their H.I.S. tanks and everybody's excited. That's awesome.
And I should have done what you did, Michael, and bought two, because now I'm staring at this gorgeous Cobra Commander carded, which it would be like blasphemy to open it. But if I had an extra one, I wouldn't mind. And I only bought the one. So I seriously regret not getting an extra H.I.S.
All
tank.
good. You learn.
Does your H.I.S. tank have all of its stuff?
Oh, is that a problem?
Oh, what do you mean?
I mean, you know how it is. Like, it's not Hasbro bashing. It's just how the world works sometimes. You know, when I got my Haslab Sky Strikers, and I'm sure you both remember, there were people saying, there's no missiles, there's no parachutes, there's no seats, blah, blah, blah. I did have a buddy send me a couple of pictures today. His carded Cobra Commander doesn't have the snake with the globe.
Oh no.
Yeah, in the bubble, it's just not in there. And then he got two right machine guns or something.
Oh, I see.
Oh. Everything like thankfully, and this little light keeps slipping off. Everything thankfully was in the right place, came with everything it needed to, and those damn headlights are amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's cool because we're seeing a bunch of new folks in the chat, which is awesome. And and I'm sure your listeners know exactly who you are, but just to remind everyone, this Chad was actually the person to call the Triple T and Cup Transformer crossover G.I. Joe a year ago. So, yes.
Good call, Chad.
Thank you.
We won't ask you like how the sausage is made or where your secrets come from, but you were totally on point with that one.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, it's cool because it just gives us something to look forward to. Because like I love the 3 3/4 inch line, and so if this was the way that I was going to get my figures, I'm like, so be it. Just keep making them.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm just flashing some of our viewers' comments on the screen as we kind of run through this. But you have a lot of exciting stuff to talk to us about, Chad, don't you? Chad has some juicy gossip to dish.
There's some things and stuff.
We have him here for a reason, folks. So all of you that are tuning in right now are going to hear some really good stuff. So let's get into it. It's exciting. So we did have, all of those amazing pre-orders that dropped this week, and were there a few surprises for you, Michael? I know we had predicted some of those name only reveals as well. Happy to see all of them that dropped. So happy we're finally getting Xandar because Nirana needed her brother. Like that was really cool. So do you want to dive into the juicy gossip, or do you want to kind of recap first what we saw at the fan stream?
Let's do the gossip first.
Okay.
We should dish. But yeah, just want to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Just around the 3 3/4 inch line, and also some classified series news as well, which was amazing.
Absolutely. And then before we dive in, I'm going to give a huge shout out to the Baroness of Toys, awesome crew member, big friend of the channel. Baroness, happy Hanukkah. Hope you are doing well. And I got
only 10 minutes late. That's not bad.
That's not bad. We had a blast yesterday, right, Baroness?
When people are late on my channel, they owe punch and pie. It's like the rule. It's the number one rule.
That's funny.
Absolutely. Oh, and then I apologize. Right before we dive in, huge thank you to Brandon R. And I don't know if this is going to your channel, Chad, or ours. I can't tell from my end, but whoever this is for, congratulations and thank you from all of us here. And Brandon says, I made it, world's best roasted chicken dinner. Oh my God, that's awesome. Wolfed it down to be here and force the younglings into child labor. Cleaning the kitchen. How's everyone doing this wonderful Canadian Christmas Day? Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad you can make it. I used to have to do that too when I was a kid. It was like after dinner, it's like me and my sister go clean the kitchen.
It's free labor. That's what kids are great for.
Labor, man. I got $5 a week allowance. I don't know how I lived on that.
Yeah.
Brandon R is a super awesome dude, and around my neck of the woods, we call him Santa Brandon because he's a very supportive guy.
That is awesome. Well, welcome Brandon to the show. Happy to see you here. So let's start dishing some news.
Yeah,
Chad.
Where do you want to start, and we'll go from there.
I don't know. It's a bunch. So, well, I guess a little bit of the backstory on it, and I have my notes. Messenger, right? I have my messenger still up because I knew I was going to get asked about it. About a month ago, I got a message from somebody, and it was kind of a second, third tier order of effect thing. How is my sausage made? You know how my sausage is made, Brian. I got a message from somebody, and it was like the second, third kind of order of effect based off the Triple T Cup deal. And this guy just reached out to me and said, hey, since you know stuff, I'm not really breaking NDA, which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And said, are you aware of this? And I was like, no, I was not aware of this. And then it was like, well, how about this? No, I wasn't aware of that. And it just kept coming. Then
gates open, right?
Right. I'm not that guy. Like I'm not that channel where, I'm all like, oh, I have a scoop. I need to go spill it. I held on to this for weeks and weeks and weeks. I held on to it for a while. I reached out to somebody else who I know, and I don't like to be vague because I think being vague kind of throws up flags, but at the same time, you have to be vague because if you're not, then you expose people. A lot of us, Michael, you and I were talking about this backstage, and me and a bunch of the other people who were here in the chat, especially like Laser Pants from 3POA, we always discuss how it's sort of a known thing that when Hasbro leaks something, they leak it because they want YouTube channels and social media to hype it up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a leak from Mattel, you get a cease and desist, right? Like there's a difference, right? We were talking about that as well. So
yeah,
the Hasbro stuff is generally like
you get slapped on the wrist, me and Michael.
The Hasbro stuff is generally like a 90-10 split. 90% of it is really accurate. The other 10 is either old and squashed, it changed somehow, or it's just we're gonna feel this out. And all of the stuff that I was given, that I talked about in my video, I know what I think is the 10% feel it out part, and I'm sure we'll get to it. But when I was given this information, I know a guy through a guy who works on some stuff, and I said, "Hey, I'm not asking you to break NDA, but if I showed you what I was told, could you give me you're close or you're off? Like, am I hot or am I cold?"
Yeah.
And I sent it to him, and he said, "You're not off." And
Wow.
then I didn't do anything with it. I did corroborate it, but I sat on it. I saw the little announcement teaser from Super 7, and I was like, well, it's one of two things, because I know what's coming, but it wasn't supposed to come for like 2 more weeks about his little O-ring thing, which was already known. I mean, look at the images. We already knew it was coming. But I had, oh, look, there's Chaz. Chad, you Hasbro shill. Get out of here, buddy. I had Chaz on the other day, and we talked about all this stuff. But
we love Chaz. He's awesome.
Oh, yeah, he's the best.
Shout out to you, Chaz. Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I am is a Hasbro shill, and everybody knows that. Yeah, so it was known that Brian Flynn was going to start making the rounds talking about their O-ring thing, but some of the stuff that I was told was it wasn't so much, hey, Super 7's doing O-ring figures, like, duh, we all knew that. But it was when their contract was changed, what was put in the changes in the contract. And they're fluid. They change all the time, because when I was originally given the information, and I said as much in my video, it was Super 7 is going to do O-rings, and they're going to do O-rings of figures based off of animation. They're strictly left and right limits are still animation, but that even changed, because when Brian Flynn was on Dan Ederle's channel, he even said comics, as did the email that they put out that day. So, things change all the time. But it was also not just figures, but vehicles and playsets.
Well, Michael,
which, again,
can
isn't really a shock.
Corroborate that story, right, Michael?
Yeah. So,
and Michael and I, that's when we started talking about it,
right?
Yeah, we've been sitting on this for like so many months.
Yeah, it's so funny, because I think we're in the same situation where we are sitting on stuff for weeks and sometimes months. And I did get some information. It actually was it was corroborated by some of the like tiers from the Mothership. So I said, okay, this person must know what they're talking about. But he was saying to expect land and sea vehicles, in the Super 7 line. And just judging also by the Mothership, they're not afraid to go the playset route as well. So it's everything is open for business now.
Yeah, and a lot of it wasn't earth-shattering. When I was getting this stuff, I would ask a couple of open-ended questions, as they're referred to. Does that include Resolute and Renegades? Because that's animation.
Yeah.
Because you could get a Resolute style H.I.S. tank, which kind of what the one behind you, Toy Sorceress, looks like, right? If you remember when they invade Springfield and Resolute, they have all like the Sponson missile pods and all that stuff on their H.I.S. tanks. So I did ask that, and I got the answer unknown at this time. Okay, well, at least I tried. I asked.
Yeah.
But the rest of it wasn't really all that earth-shattering. Like, oh, they're going to come out with vehicles and playsets. I'm like, I'm staring at one for $500 right there. It's not a shock. They have the Cobra flight pods. You see the Cobra robots. Like, okay. But I'm interested to see them do O-ring versions of the Blind Woodsman and Raven and Snakelings and things like that. Stuff we never saw before.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be the ones to do it. They're going to be the ones that they're going to drop the Cobra Aspid helicopter and say, look, we finally did it. Hasbro never did it. Boom, there's your Cobra Aspid, and I want it badly.
Yeah. It's interesting because, like, I think from my standpoint, I grew up on the traditional 3 3/4 inch line, and so my affinities to certain figures come from what I played with, what I watched, and I was wondering, like, is Super 7, when they're going to be making these, kind of more deep cut figures, how is that going to resonate with fans, right? who maybe want that traditional 3 3/4 inch line, which I think Hasbro said that they'll probably still continue to do just with their Transformers crossovers, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how Hasbro is going to continue the classic O-ring design figures, and that's going to be with the crossover set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that I have to get the O-rings that way, but if they're producing them, I typically I'll get it for the O-ring figure and then just sell the Transformer, but not in the Thunder Machines case.
That one's
kind of cool.
awesome.
See, I do it the other way around.
Oh, really?
Everything that you see back here, like all of my figures that are displayed, they're all 4-inch modern body construction figures. Now, if I get a vehicle or a playset that has an O-ring, pilot, driver, whatever, keel haul with it, they're in the vehicle or they're with the playset somewhere. But other than that, so when I ordered my Soundwave Thunder Machines, I told Chaz the Guru, I was like, hey, when I get them, I'll send you the figures from one of the sets because I never keep them. I just give them away.
Oh, that's
I did that with one of my Haslab Sky Strikers too. I gave the entire set away on a giveaway stream. Yeah. The other one's still sealed, but but hey, I do want to see them make more stuff because someone on a Reddit post, and I've not sat down and counted it, said that out of all G.I. Joe lore, comics, Sunbow, Deke, everything you can think of, you put it all together, there's over 700 named characters.
Wow.
Oh my God.
We've never gotten close to that for figures. There's so many characters. I would love to see an Admiral Latimer. Do you remember him from the cartoon?
No.
Admiral Latimer, and he's the one that like went over to Cobra and they gave him that uniform, and like he had the battleship that was supposed to be decommissioned, and it was one of those weird episodes, but Admiral Latimer, he's a character, and they never made him. I'd love to see him.
That's awesome. And a big shout out and thank you to Justin Booth for your $10 super chat. Super, super generous of you, Justin. And Justin says, yesterday I placed my pre-order for the G.I. Joe Classified Action Soldier Infiltrate. You got 3 of them. That's awesome. And the retro carded Scarlet, Quick Kick, and Airborne figures, they're still available for pre-order. Yeah, those are awesome figures that came out. I know a couple of our fan channel retailers had that 60th anniversary Action Soldier and Sailor priced at $24.99, and then a few hours later quickly realized their mistake. So hopefully some people were able to take advantage of that. BBTS.
Hit that button.
I did. I ordered mine, that was nice. It's like what's that Monopoly card, like bank error in your favor?
Oh, jeez.
It's like, ooh, I bought a couple.
Yep.
But yeah, those are some great pre-orders that hit, and we'll go through them just in a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool.
The Mothership is interesting. I actually thought that it would have gotten a little bit more traction than it has thus far, because we are a day and 7 hours now left on it. It's not looking too great.
What's it at right now, Michael? Is it still about 1,500?
Not even 50%. Yeah.
I think it's at 1,528. And but I mean, it could pull a ghost, right? The ghost funded, but then all the tiers unlocked on that last day, and so maybe we'll get a surprise. Who knows?
And I've voiced my opinion on this. I think the playset's incredible, but I think it's all about the price point. At $500 plus shipping and tax, you're almost at what we paid for the Cat Slayer, and that's a much smaller playset. Although incredible and still big in its own right, and comes with a bunch of really cool stuff, it's quite an expensive pill to swallow for a 3 3/4 inch playset at that price. And I understand Super 7's costs and all of that, and I'm sure they're not making a mint on this thing whatsoever. Maybe it's just enough to get this thing over the line so that they can pay for it. But $500 is a lot, and I think it's really the price point that's driving people to not back it. Because I would love to buy this, but I haven't yet. It's too much money. Like right now is a bad time. It's the holidays. You're spending money on holiday gifts. You're trying to get stuff that you can get in hand. things that are, people aren't spending as much money on pre-orders anymore. They're like, I need a gift I can put under the tree, and $500 or $600 on this thing that I'm not going to get for a year is not going to help me right now. So the timing was just off. And then we all just spent, for all you Thundercats fans, you just spent a fortune on the Cat's Lair. And then I'm sure we had a couple Haslabs come up after that as well. So there's just been a lot of, and we had the Dragonfly too. So
Yeah,
drop the point on that.
And the Ghost from Star Wars, that like, yeah, if
and
you're
the
a
Ghost from Star Wars, everything was all at once. So maybe Super 7 should have waited a few months and done this like after the holidays. And I think they would have done a lot better in terms of getting this thing funded. So who knows? Maybe if it doesn't fund, maybe they'll put a pause on it and maybe reboot it again after the holiday season and see if they can get some more traction. But I just think it's bad timing right now. And that's probably
and a lot of it's based on feedback too. But I did a video on this, and the one comment that I got that always stuck with me was it's Haslab pricing at reaction quality. And I was like, I could see that. I could kind of see that argument that the price is pretty steep. But then again, at the same time, I think that price is relative, because how many years ago was that Legacy Millennium Falcon $500? Now, granted, that's a Millennium Falcon. That's totally different, right? It's a character in itself in the most popular IP in the history of the planet. But when you talk about price and relativity, this is $500 in today's dollars. When you look back, and that Falcon was $500, the Ghost was $500. I'm not a Star Wars collector, so if I was going to drop $500 on a large vehicle / playset, I would drop it on this.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Yeah, no,
it's and some people are like, oh, you're crazy, and I'm like, my money. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like I said, I think it's a matter of timing. We just came off all of these other crowdfund projects, and it's the holidays, and people are feeling the pinch, and you got to spend money on your family, on all these gifts, and it's just like, do they have money for a playset that's coming out in a year from now? I don't know. Obviously, there's not other Haslab projects going on at the moment. I think they did that Ghostbusters one already finished with the
yes,
that's right. That one still could be maybe at the tail end too. Yeah,
it's probably around the end, but that's super popular, so they had no problem.
So one way or the other, that thing's it's out of the game.
But it just companies, and I know it's fourth quarter and they're trying to make up profits for like the rest of the year and all that kind of stuff. But crowdfunding something around the holidays is not that good of an idea, especially if you think it might be on the edge of not making it over the finish line. So
because
I wish this thing all the success in the world, because I think it's freaking awesome, and I wish I could afford it, but I don't know if it's going to make it.
Silver K said Ghostbuster ends tomorrow night. And that's the thing with, pre-orders. You're buying people pre-orders as Christmas presents. It's like the new modern digital version of the Star Wars early bird kit.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say.
Nothing to show. You're just like,
hey, I bought this.
Look at the receipt on my phone.
A receipt on your phone.
Yeah.
Happy Merry Christmas.
That's funny. But yeah, I wish Super 7 all the the luck in the world with, if this funds, that's great. I'm going to be jumping in, but also the first like early bird tier was not enough for me to jump in. Like parachutes, probably not. If they made it something else, maybe I would have bit. But like the Cat's Lair had the key to Thundera, which I thought was cool. It was like a 4-inch replica, that had some history to it. But I'm like, 2 parachutes, meh.
Well, I mean, the Cat's Lair, like if you want a vintage Cat's Lair, it's $1,200 minimum, and that's not even in great condition. So getting a Super 7 Ultimate size Cat's Lair at half the price with all the incredible things it came with, and if you knew you were going to jump in anyway at some point or another, and if you could afford to make that payment at the beginning of the campaign rather than the end, then you get your key to Thundera. It was a no-brainer. So that makes sense. This is a slightly different story, and and I collect reaction figures, and that, Michael. I collect the G.I. Joe reaction figures. I collect a lot of the other genres of reaction, But sometimes, especially now that I'm being a little bit more, financially conscious, because I have to be, the reaction figures are they're pricey. And now I find myself kind of being picky and not buying them as much. But I wish that they could have made this playset at a slightly lower price point, maybe like $100 less. If there was anything they could have maybe value engineered to get the price point a little bit lower, maybe not had as many bells and whistles in it, and then maybe more people would have been able to jump in. I don't know. I don't know what their cost model is to build this thing, because it does look rather expensive. There's a lot of tooling. There's all sorts of many sides of all those different rooms that need to be tooled and made. So it's much more expensive than, let's say, the Thunder Tank was expensive too, $450. But this thing has so many different like little rooms and pieces and bits and parts, and all of that tooling costs a lot of money. So
Yes.
that's really what's driving the cost up.
And
Totally.
making the parachute packs a tier unlock when you
Yeah, that
have
was-
storage in the back by the ramp that's specific for the parachute packs.
Mhm.
So you don't get the parachute pack. What do you put in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing to
Yeah,
put in there then.
That wasn't a good move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the Super 7 stuff, so I wish him all the success in the world. This is a
It
tough
kind
one.
of it kind of amazes me. Like, I know that Hasbro and Mattel, they have huge like market research teams, right, that do all this
Mhm.
research, and I'm sure that Super 7 has done their research as well. And
Yeah.
or it's just like, things that Brian once made that haven't been made, which is great. Like,
Yeah.
this base that shows up in the intro for a few seconds, it crashes and burns, and now it's like
Yeah.
a super cool play
And-
set that has the footprint of the ghost.
Mhm. And I want to point something out to everybody, and I mentioned this on Brick Something stream last weekend, that when we posted about the Mothership at San Diego Comic-Con and had all of these images, it was hardly covered by anybody at the convention. Michael, you remember on our website, we had a huge peak, and I think it was the highest viewed article we've ever had on our website, and it was incredible in one day how many people Googled this thing and looked at our article. I'm talking about like 10,000. So not to say that there's not interest in it, because there absolutely was. And that was proof that people were interested in this playset. But that was before all of the details came out of the cost and what was going to be included. But people were excited. So to say that there's not excitement about the Mothership is wrong, because there's absolute excitement out there. So you just got to attribute it to cost at this point, right?
Yeah.
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 Yep.
So yeah, I'm so looking forward to what Super 7 has in store. And I think for me,
Yeah.
I hope they mix in some just like older tried and true characters that have been made before, and they don't go like completely 100% down the down the line. But kind of with all the animation and the comics and stuff, but all the stuff that I've seen just from images from the comics and animation, like all of it looks pretty stellar. And so it looks like there's a bright future going to be happening for the 3 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
And they'll put out those characters, in little plastic dolly form that people have never had that they want. They'll do a Don Moreno, maybe they'll do a Serpentor Khan. Like, who knows how deep into the comics they're gonna go. Like, you can literally just grab an issue and flip through it and be like, nobody did that. And then just make it.
Well, we got some characters coming to Reaction, right? That was
Yeah.
leaked as part of the next wave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I saw that Adam Rich's art for the Blind Woodsman and his dog sled team, I'm like, come on. Nobody ever did that before. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I really hope talking about crowdfunding projects, like there's some grail pieces that people probably want to have that are very costly. Like when Mattel reissued and redid the Eternia playset, that's a grail for Motu collectors. I'm sure the Terrordrome and the USS Flag are grail items for Joe collectors as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Allison Troy agrees too. She's excited about it, as am I, but I can't afford it right now. And a lot of people are out on our same boat. And I love
Yeah.
Super 7 stuff. I buy so many of their products. So it pains me to see that this thing isn't doing better than it is, you know?
Yeah.
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 And that's the thing, like most people in the toy community, I'm not the biggest fan of the word community, but
Oh
you
my
know,
God,
it is
I
what
just
it
got
is.
this one.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a Chase Baroness figure. You know, they come out with those figures at Target that they don't announce.
Yep.
So this is the Target figure that popped up this month, and it's this incredible blue Baroness, but she looks so awesome. And Super 7 does awesome stuff like this to surprise people. I mean, I'm totally all in on their product, so I wish them the best.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people that even if they don't want it, they don't want to see it fail. So that's cool because like, hey, it's not for me, but I'm not telling you, like, I'm not trying to crap on your dreams at the same time. Like,
Right.
if you want it, by all means. Same thing with,
Absolutely.
Giant Man and all that stuff.
Oh, the Giant Man. Yeah, and the Rancor, right? It's like,
yeah, the Rancor, but
that is you, Baroness, in your brand new blue outfit.
but sorry, Chad, you were saying something about community.
I said it. That was it.
Oh, got it. Okay. Awesome. Well, cool. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. With the announcement of Super 7 taking over the G.I. Joe line and kind of taking it where it hasn't been before, it's going to give us some great things to talk about in the future, some stuff to speculate on, and I'm sure that all of the leaks will be flowing as well.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we shall see. And speaking of leaks, we can get into some of the classified series figures that went up for pre-order this last December 7th. And it's interesting because repeatedly these figures have been leaked ahead of the stream. And so it actually makes our life easier as content creators because we know what's happening. We have to prepare this stuff, right?
These things just don't happen automatically. It takes time to get all our articles and all that stuff put out. So people do us favors when these things get leaked early.
Yeah, but I thought especially for the 4 figures that were announced just as the standard single figures, I thought that they did an amazing job just kind of recreating. It's basically a 3 3/4 inch figure in 6-inch scale for these guys that came out, or roughly.
Absolutely classic versions of them, and it's like the quintessential quick kick and airborne that you would love to have. So I think they've been doing a great job of that. If any of you out there have already got your General Hawk and he's sitting up on the shelf, or Shockwave, just those two as an example of turning a O-ring figure into our new classified scale version, and they're just incredible, hitting that nostalgia that we all loved as kids, and then turning it into the super articulated, awesome, upgraded figure with all of its accessories. Hasbro finally has hit their stride and found the recipe for success with this line, because they're killing it and keep going. Keeping it classic, I think, is really been the recipe of their success so far.
Yeah, it's something that I've gravitated towards because I think the first couple of waves of classified figures, I was like, they weren't hitting the mark for me.
Yeah, me neither.
Which was fine because then I'd be saving a little bit of money. But now that they're doing this, I'm like,
oh my God.
I need all of these figures.
Yeah. Minus the ones with brains. Those are the ones I'm skipping.
That's awesome.
Yeah, these look great, and can't wait for them to come out. I think these are scheduled to be released in the early spring, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and Chad, okay, so you're a 3 3/4 inch collector. I guess what do you think of the the classified series when they're doing stuff like this? You can give it to us straight. It's
on a personal level, because I don't ever talk classified stuff. I don't do it. Personally, just me, my opinion, and I hate that you have to segue with that. You have to say, this is my disclaimer. This is my personal opinion. It feels like grave robbing to me.
Oh,
It's just stuff I've already got.
yeah.
I think it's cool for people who never got into GI Joe, or they're just 6-inch toy collectors of the modern what's new, what can I find at Target, what's flashy and right now. I think that's neat, but at the same time, like, I've got Airborne, I've got Quick Kick, I've got Flight Pods, I've got H.I.S. tanks,
Right.
got all of it. And when I see people, oh man, we're getting a trouble bubble, and I'm like, that's great. I got like 10 of them. I don't,
Yeah, you're like,
I
been
don't
there, done
care.
that in 84.
You got that incredible scale with
just
the
for-
detail and the little seat belt and all the controls, and I mean,
But it's just for me. It's just my
Yeah.
opinion, because
yeah,
I'm not gonna spend my money on restarting a collection, especially in a new scale, and also when I can't world build with it.
Oh yeah.
To me, the 1/12 scale, it's a dolly only scale. It's supposed to be that, oh, well, this is like the, think back to Black Series. Black Series started as 4-inch, then it went to 6-inch. Like,
That's
but
right.
this is like the ultimate adult deep pocket collector, like super fantastic, put it on the shelf, never touch it, dolly only line. And now we're putting square pegs in round holes, coming out with H.I.S. tanks and vamps and stingers and MMS and SMS and a
Bring 'em
Rattler
on.
Haslab. You know, I'm excited for people
I
who
heard
want
that,
it.
Chad. I think you all
Yeah.
did too.
Yeah. Rattler Haslab people.
Oh my
I'm
God.
excited
I
for
just
people
want to
who
circle
want
back
it.
real quick. Go ahead.
And I think that's cool, but at the same time, it's not my flavor
Yeah.
at all.
It's
It's
not your
like,
jam.
to me, it's like, some people, they do that whole Wendy's thing with the fries and the Frosty, and I look at them like, I will never do it. But my wife swears by it, my kid swears by it, and at the same time, I'm like, no, thank you. I won't do it.
That's funny.
Absolutely
Yeah, I
not.
just I stay away from it because I have my opinions. And you know how it is in the modern age, when people don't like your opinions, you're a hater, or you're this or you're that. And I'm none of that, because I'm not trying to be a joy thief when people like the stuff. It's just not something I'm going to spend my money on.
Yeah, which is great. Like, yeah, that's what we want. We want you to bring your authentic self here, and it's like the collecting is so personal, right? And it's like it's like sometimes I see things that I don't collect, but you can still appreciate like the art form, right? Even though you don't
even looking at these backpacks, like that Alice pack that Airborne has, it's fantastic. He even has the freaking dust cover for the goggles. That I love it. It's awesome. I'm all for it. I'm just not going to buy it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think a lot of it is because leave the joy thieving to me. I shall, Ryan. There's a lot of people who they fall back on consensus. They need a consensus, or they need someone to validate their purchases or what they like. Those are the people that I tend to like, hey, that's cool, man. Like, go hang out in your corner. Just keep it off my porch. But at the same time, I can, 82 to 94, the real American hero. I can throw darts all day long at so many misses from that 12 years. That Dino Hunter's dinosaur is junk. It's like this, and it doesn't articulate, and it's always warped in some weird. And I can look at that dinosaur and say, that thing is dumb. It's disgusting. I hate it. And people will go, ha ha ha, that's funny. But you say something about this 6-inch big boa, and people will come at you with pitchforks.
Yeah. That's what I remember from just like doing, like, covering classified series from very early on. Like, people will come at you for like saying anything against like what they love, and it's like, it's not like we're saying we're against it. It's like, it's just not for us, right?
Yeah, and it's never like, oh, you're dumb because you want to buy that. It's never that. It's just that, like, hey man, yeah, there it is. Cool.
Absolutely. I was going to circle back.
I don't like big boa at all anyway. I never did.
Yeah, there's a lot of bare-chested guys in the latest waves that are coming out, but just the Omega 579. The trick to helmets loose, to Hawk's loose helmet, and same thing you did with Dusty. What you do is Hawk came with 2 sets of goggles. You take the small set of goggles and put it backwards on his head, just like that, and then shove his helmet on, and then voila, it's not loose anymore. It fits on just like Dusty's helmet does, and then you got an awesome Hawk, and it fits perfect. And then you have somewhere to store his extra goggles.
On his head.
That's the trick. I'm sorry. I just wanted to show Omega 579 that because I've been holding Hawk for the last 5 minutes. But I know it's not for you, Chad. You know, to each his own. Everybody has different things they love to collect, and but there are a lot of fans out there of the classified series line, and there's a reason that it's been so successful for Hasbro, and they've been, you know, kind of hitting it out of the park with all their latest releases. Obviously, you're a purist in your collection, and everybody loves to collect the way
I'm
that
not really
they
that
do.
much of a purist, you know. I'm really not. I'm not. I got a lot of Fresh Monkey Fiction and Marauder Gun Runners and Joy Toy and all that stuff. I just, you know, I mean,
Classified isn't for you.
I appreciate it. You know, I
Yeah.
appreciate the art. To me, toys are art. Like packaging is art, the figures themselves, the sculpt, it's art, the paint, it's art, it's all art. And
Yeah.
one of my big things has always been like, I'll get something that's beat up and I'll restore it and I'll love it and I'll care for it, because I have always believed that we are stewards of these pieces of art, because one day we won't be here and all these little plastic shelfies got to go somewhere.
That's
So,
true.
but until that day, like, we're the stewards of them. We're you know, to take care of them and things like that. And I appreciate it for the art. It's just not something
for the art, exactly. Because when were you ever going to get, you know, a version of Hawk? Your 3 3/4 inch version of Hawk would never have these incredible details on his flight jacket with, you know, it looks like worn leather and his little medals, and you can see like the, you know, the patches on his arms. I mean, to me, this is art as well. I love vintage toys. I've got a huge vintage toy collection. But to get to see kind of like the ultimate version in a really functional, good figure that works, and it's not like a little statue. It's not ultra fragile like some of the larger scale figures are. You can still play with it and pose it and take some cool pictures. But I think they're doing a really good job. And yeah, I get that the scale isn't for you, Chad. But I think there's a recipe for success in what they're doing and keeping it classic like these. So keep up the good work.
There's also there's the flip side of going to 1/12 scale. When they do it right, it looks amazing. When they do it bad, you can't unsee it.
Yeah,
of course. Like what cover girl that
Falcon.
looks like
Falcon.
Falcon.
Oh, Falcon is horrible. Yeah.
And, you know, that's just
in your face, right?
It's low hanging.
Falcon in his poor face. I know. But I found if you took a little rubbing alcohol and take some of the color off his lips, he doesn't look so bad.
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually gonna pass on these guys because I'm like, I don't really have an affinity for them. But then when Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store had the oopsie in pricing, I was like, I want that recon diver just for that submersible. I'm like, that's a really cool thing.
That's awesome.
I'm just saying, you put Shipwreck's head on that action sailor recon diver, whatever, you got Shipwreck version 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you know that the action sailor is going to be hitting my swimming pool.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, I mean, these ones really call out to me just because of the, you know, relationship to the 3 3/4 inch line. So I usually keep these guys on card, except if I like the Recondo, just in his classic look. They hit Scarlet, they knocked it out of the park, and especially with Duke too. But yeah, these ones I'm looking forward to.
I like the fact that Scarlet has just enough updates.
Yeah,
and you know they were thoughtful enough to give her like an action ponytail, so that's why she has the swappable one. So it goes over her backpack and it looks like she's like running or whatever. You can get that cool like pose that she's so known for.
That mold was free thanks to Glenda and the Dragonfly.
Right. Absolutely. Which I backed. And we knew she was coming. We absolutely knew she was coming. But
everyone knew she was coming anyway. And as soon as they showed Glenda, I was like,
Oh yeah.
There it is.
Oh.
We're getting started. And you know, they course corrected. This is no longer retailer exclusive. Walmart. I'm not going to name names, so you're not going to get a taco in the mail anymore or a wonton made out of your card backs, which is awesome. And they thickened the card back as well. So happy to see that you can actually keep this on card if you want to, or you know, or order two and open one up and enjoy it. But these look incredible, and I think they're doing a really great job.
Yeah.
I
like the scale of these ones just because the card art is beautiful, and I love the vintage card art too. And so if this is the way that I can get it, you know, not for an arm and a leg, I'll be for it.
It's like they need to bring back the white piping though. I mean, that's the one thing that's missing on it, because
I'm sure
this little added bit is just makes it right.
Yeah. I'm sure Super 7 will take care of that, right?
I'm sure they will.
That's cool. But yeah, I mean, hopefully everybody didn't like break the bank again. And like, I forget, last year, did they release so many figures last year, like all at once for pre-order?
In December?
Yeah, I'm thinking like, are they doing this for like Q4 earnings? just like boost them up a little bit, but I don't know. It was a lot.
And just for a fan stream, because this was just like a kind of, you know, hey, we're doing an extra fan stream at the end of the year type
They
thing.
dropped a whole ton of product.
Nine
Like
figures and 4 name only reveals. That was a lot. But you know, this version of Duke, which looks awesome, his face sculpt is fantastic. It's like the version of Duke you've always wanted. If you collect, I'll put a pin in that chat. If you collect the scale of figures, I think he looks great.
Still looks great. He's got the XMLR14. He looks good. I'm all for it.
I love that you know all of the names for these weapons, because
I have no idea what they are.
And thank you for your and your wife's service. Like I really mean that.
Thanks. We appreciate
it. But yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of G.I. Joe like stuff coming. You know, for 2024 and 2025, right? So you know, we have you were also, I think, one of the people to also, I'm trying to just pull this up, saying these bad boys are coming to a 6-inch classified scale, which is fancy. That's like music to a classified series, folks. I'm really glad that, I think you were saying that you don't really cover that much classified series stuff, and now I know why. But I'm glad that you shared this information with us, because I think from your track record, like to us, you are a reliable source. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And you know, again, things change. So when I was told about these two, I was like, well, you know, the Thunder Machine's been talked about numerous times before. I'm not super shocked about that. But then I was told, you know, Hasbro loves to, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they really like to lay out Barney style. These are the price points for classified, right? I watched one stream, which I rarely ever do, and they spent so much of it talking about, well, let's talk about the new price point structure.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. God,
we're talking like three different price points for like 3 different scaled figures. It's like, come on.
But when, you know, when that source came to me or whatever and said, but it's going to be a new price point that's going to be one higher than the Vamp, the Stinger. Shut up.
Wait, you just said it. Well, we all knew it was coming, right? Come on, it's a repaint. They got to get their money out of the mold for the
Vamp. Exactly. But you know, so you have that $100 price point that's pretty much locked in for a
you
Vamp
heard it here on Toy Habits. Chad. It's Chad. Stinger,
and then
classified series.
And then another price point for vehicles in this wheelbase, if you want to call it that, right? A little bit larger, because the Snowcat is significantly larger than a Vamp.
Yeah.
And I've also noticed, Michael and I were talking about this backstage, there's a lot of people who collect this line that they either their spatial awareness has gone away, or they don't have these toys to know, you know, because I've seen people like, oh yeah, Snowcat's not much bigger than a Vamp. And I'm like, dude, it's like twice the size of it. Like, but you know, like it's a big vehicle.
Yeah.
Thunder Machine, not so much, but yeah, the Snowcat is. But these two will fall into that higher price point. And again, You know, if it's $30 off, whatever, because it's a price range.
Yeah.
So,
Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the main thing is like looking forward to stuff that we like to collect, and I would especially love to see a Thunder Machine. And I could also see this being a Haslab because there's so many more Dreadnoks than there are just presented in the like Sunbow lore, right? You know, you go to the comics, you go to you know other sources, there are so many more. And so like I think a great thing would be to like fill the party van, you know, with Dreadnoks so they can all ride around in this awesome ride.
Absolutely.
Clint, these will not be $100.
No,
absolutely.
I'm thinking maybe 129.
I was told 150 to 200. Other people are saying like 125 to 150, and I'm like, it still hits 150 actually.
Right.
But the cool thing about doing the Snowcat, you can do a Tiger Force version. You can even do that Cobra Basilisk. You sky's the limit with it. Have at it. Make a nice Force.
Like I'm so surprised that we haven't got our like 4th or 5th repaint of the Ram Cycle from Classified series. So it's like, you know, that Dreadnought version is coming at some point, right?
I would like to see them do a Silver Mirage.
Ooh, that would be
I
neat.
love the Silver Mirage. I mean, it's notorious that if you like breathe in its direction, something's going to fall apart.
Yeah, I had one. I had one that fell apart as well.
I got a couple, and out of those, I made one that's good to go. Yeah, I'd like to see them do a Silver Mirage. I appreciate the immaculate detail in the 6-inch vehicles. I think they killed it with the Vamp. And I really like that H.I.S. tank too. If they had done interchangeable cockpits in the H.I.S. tank like Skeletron did with their RoboSkull Mark II, I'd have bought it.
Oh,
definitely bought it. But what I'm not going to do is buy this expensive like boutique item and take a freaking Dremel to it. I'm not going to do that. People are like, "Well, you build
you customize quite a bit, right?"
I do, yeah.
Which is cool. Like we love customizers because we often feature those in lieu of actual pictures. But have you seen what Ramen Toy is doing with their modular stuff? I think that's awesome. Like that is the way to do it. You get basically 3 vehicles in one. You get a Wolverine.
It's a bridge layer. It's a Wolverine. It's a whatever you want.
That. Yeah, it's like
brilliant. Did you know he's doing 1/18 scale stuff?
No.
He's gonna do V.
That's great.
Yeah. Because awesome. every time I see Ace, I'm like, "What's up, man? Where's my 1/18 scale stuff?" And he's like, "It's coming. Don't worry about it."
Okay. Well, good. Yeah, they do great work, so I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
That is awesome. Anything else to cover, Joe, related before we move on to the mashup that people either love or hate?
Well, let's see. So MMS, Stinger, Ferret, Triple T, the price point, talked about that. No relative time frames. I was told 3rd quarter 2024 for the Snowcat. Again, right? Subject to change.
Yeah.
The only other thing was, and this is the 10%, that they're looking to revive the 4-inch modern construction Joes using a figure subscription service. That's the one thing that I was like, that sounds like they're feeling it out.
Yeah,
but
I would.
Do you think there's room for that though in the market right now?
Yeah.
With so many
look at Star Wars, right? Yeah. So if you look at Star Wars as the roadmap, and let's be real, Star Wars isn't doing that great because Hasbro doesn't dictate what comes out for Star Wars. Disney dictates to Hasbro what comes out for Star Wars. So you get the Holdos and the Rose Ticos and all the peg warmers. It is what it is.
No love for Lando.
So you have the retro 5 POA Star Wars. You have the vintage collection Star Wars. You have the Black Series Star Wars. You have 3 different types.
Yep.
Super 7's doing O-rings. All the risk is on them, no risk on Hasbro, and they still get their cheddar. You have H.I.S.S doing 4-inch modern construction Joes that they. And I was going to ask you, how is H.I.S.S doing at $25? They can only sell them in Asian markets though, and they can't.
$25 each, the same price as a classified figure.
Well, actually,
I'm not
look
getting
at the classified figures in our market. They're the same price.
Right, but The point is, Haya can only sell those Joes in Asian markets. That's why you can't go on Entertainment Earth, Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store,
Gotcha.
places where you find other Haya stuff. Like if you want a RoboCop Ed 209, go get it. Right? It's everywhere to be found. I've got this sucker, right? So I got this from Haya Toys, and this Aliens APC is out of this world amazing.
That's awesome.
You're not going to see Haya make Joe stuff like this because they can't. And the reason they can't is because all this stuff is tied together. Hasbro is trying to make Joe like Star Wars, where you have a 4-inch modern back, and they just took these 4-inch modern Joes out of the market just recently, and these figures are amazing.
Oh, those
I swivel the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I got them.
So if they relaunch a figure subscription service, which I do believe is that 10% feeling it out, you know, what does the community say about it? There's no risk on Hasbro's end. None, because
they look like the Tesla truck. Sorry.
What, the Aliens APC?
The APC, yeah. Like Clint said, it looked like the
No, that's one of the best 118 scale vehicles you will ever see. Yeah, see, Brandon R says Chad sleeps with that APC. No, I don't. It stays in here on the floor. But if they do a figure subscription service, again, I know a lot of people aren't too jazzed about it, but where's the risk? The risk is on it's on the people who buy them, not Hasbro. It makes sense.
But we have yet to see that happen with Hasbro. They'll be delving down a new path that they're currently not in with any other line, right? So
I mean, they have some history with the subscription.
They have history, but I'm saying right now, it's this current day, we don't have subscription type products from Hasbro.
Right, but at the same time, bias aside, right, or individual wants aside, just because Hasbro is only making the IP that saved their asses 3 times in one scale doesn't mean that's what everyone wants. They understand that when they made that decision, they told a huge chunk of their customer base, go away, we don't want you anymore. And that's what they're trying to rectify. And the Super 7 deal is a big part of it. If they relaunch a figure subscription service, if they do, great. If they don't, whatever. I've got Eagle Force, I've got Marauder Gun Runners, I got Joy Toy. They can have my money. But like nostalgia in a 6-inch scale is a glider. It's not going to fly forever. And you gotta get some new media. You gotta get kids in your line. When your whole IP or your whole line is almost entirely exclusive. This stuff's at Walmart. This stuff's at Target. This stuff's on Amazon. This stuff is Fan Channel. This stuff is Pulse only. You're not going to get kids. None of this stuff is aimed at kids. And like, you need it. You need a new generation of people to buy into your IP. And because they see it as a war toy when it's not, that's not anybody's problem but theirs. They got to get over it. Like, you got to get over Hooded Cobra Commander. Let it go.
Right.
Just let it go.
That one I agree with you on.
and I told Bobby Valla from Valaverse straight up the other night, I was like, dude, make a hooded figure just to stick it in and break it off a little. Just make a hooded figure. Do it.
Love it. Yeah, I would love for them to go, and I'd love their 4-inch line that they made. And I was so sad when it got cut. It had what, like 11 or 12 figures. It had a couple of vehicles. Yeah. But yeah, I would love them to bring that back.
I was the guy in the background saying, if you want this Walmart retro, they should have never called it retro. In fact, the guy who reached out to me said they're not going to call it retro. They learned that lesson. If you wanted this line to succeed, you take the figures from the subscription service, or, actually they were whatever. You get Footloose, Dial Tone, Cover Girl, the ones that are like $200 loose, Law and Order, and you put them out in this line, people would eat that up like mad.
Big Lob and like all of the all the ones that are super expensive.
And that Big Lob is a phenomenal figure.
Yes. Yeah. I totally missed out on that. I came in at like the last 12 and I was like, I'm really
And the last 2 years of the figure subscription service, if we're being honest about it, they were lazy. The last 2 years were repaint, reuse. It was all just kit bash. They used that same rig with the machete over and over and over. But at the beginning, it was awesome. And there are models where a figure subscription service works well. I mean, look what Matty Collector did with Masters of the Universe.
Yep.
So they helped get it to the point where they had 2 animated series and they were back in stores and things like that. So, I mean, whatever. But we'll see what the future brings. But
yeah, I hope that 10% that you were talking about comes true. If it doesn't, whatever, there's a lot of Joe to spread our love around to. So
there is. I would like to see Joe get solvent again. The way that I see, if you want to feel out the health and longevity of your favorite IPs, go to Walmart, go to Party City, walk down the birthday party aisle and see what's there. Avengers, Transformers, Star Wars, right? You're going to find like Paw Patrol and stuff like that. You're not seeing G.I. Joe.
No.
And as a lifelong fan, I want to see it get back to that. I don't care what it looks like. If it's just 6-inch, whatever, that's fine. I'm still plugging holes from 1982 to 2017. So I got more than enough that I can still purchase. But I want to see that brand like come back to the way that it was.
Totally.
Yeah.
I only ask the question because I find myself, and for example, with the Star Wars line, I love the retro figures because I've got the Kenner vintage ones, just as I do, the vintage A Real American Hero figures. And, I collect those retro figures because I love them. And I do buy some of the occasional Black Series figures. So in my mind, just as an example, I had to cut out not collecting the vintage collection 4-inch scale because I'm like, it's too close to a Black Series figure and my retro figure in scale wise. And then in terms of detail, it's like you're trying to scale down a Black Series figure, but it's not as good and it's a little gummy and it's not really a retro figure. So I kind of find there's that little gray area in between where it gets kind of lost between the two lines because it's too close one way or the other. And that's why I asked the question, if that scale of a figure will survive in the line, knowing that it's kind of dancing the line between something retro and something classified, and that gets, it's kind of difficult. And it's just an example. And it's a personal preference of mine, like I made for the Star Wars collection, not to buy those. I know Michael doesn't collect the vintage collection much either, right? You're a little less on that one too. So you never know. And I wish them the success. I just worry about it's kind of straddling the line a little too close to both lines. So we'll see.
112 has its place. 118 has its place. 16 still has its place too. But the 118 scale will never die. It will never go away. Just because one company doesn't want to do certain IPs in that scale anymore doesn't mean that scale's gone, because I could list so many independent companies that are coming up with like new characters, new lore, new stories in 118 scale that I could sit here and try to list every single one of them and I would forget 50% of them. And when you go to Joe Fest, there's no Hasbro presence at Joe Fest. Nobody cares. Nobody notices because, whatever. They're doing San Diego Comic-Con and that's fine. But the scale will never go away. You can walk down any aisle in Walmart and I made a custom Cobra Missile Command headquarters out of a freaking Kids Connection playset, and I love it. I love it to death. But
that's awesome.
You can find all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah. And speaking of crazy things, we have the into the mashup of the century. It's so funny because this is, people either love these or hate these, but the Turtles of Grayskull line, it's so funny because this is not the first time that Mattel has gone crossover. Like, I love their Masters of the WWE Universe figures.
Yeah.
It's just the creativity of the figures is what I'm like really enjoying out of this line. Like, I was not into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles growing up, and the Toy Sorceress is kind of opening my head to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I have accepted them into my world, and I'm really excited.
In a big way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like going deep on the Super 7 Ultimates TMNT figures and trying to catch up is expensive, but they were half off thanks to Big Bad Toy Store. So it helped.
Yeah. So,
I like
happy
talking
Hanukkah to
this
you.
kind of stuff because I have no emotional investment in either of these IPs. I was in a Masters in 81 when I was a kid, but once Joe came around, everything else it stayed in my toy box, but it wasn't as important.
Yeah.
I never liked the Turtles, still to this day, but I appreciate it as a unique IP. And I think these two coming together, I can look at it from the sidelines and go, yeah, it's pretty fun, and I can just appreciate it for what it is, but I'm not going to get worked up about it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny because I never thought I would like these at all, but once we got past the early images of them and
Let's
saw
not go back there. I still have PTSD about that.
I know it's too soon, but yeah, it was cool to see the direction they're going because we didn't know, like, I guess how the Motu like figures would show up like turtleized, but I like them. And some of the, we get information all over the place. And so, Mattel has only officially revealed waves 1 and 2, but we got some news that wave 3 standard figures and deluxe figures are coming. So,
yeah,
which is great because everybody was like, where's Michelangelo? Because that was the only turtle that was missing from the line.
Yeah, you got to get the fourth brother, and he's in freaking battle armor gear with a blonde wig or blonde hair, so he's absolutely, channeling battle armor He-Man. And he looks really cool. Do you think he's going to have his battle armor action feature in his chest that flips?
I probably
not.
I think so. I think he will, just because they have it tooled already for battle. But I guess what we're seeing too is they're using, they're not reusing a lot of parts from Motu in these figures. So I would love for them to make that action feature. I love just spinning it around.
Oh, I know, it's fun to just play with, but
where where does the wig come from? Like, what is up with that? Is like Michelangelo's personality, does that kind of go with his persona, like the wig? Or
no, it doesn't. He's like, pizza eating, skateboarding, fun kind of surfer dude, and it doesn't really go with him, but it's kind of funny. I don't know, maybe they just
he's kind of the dude bro.
Oh, okay.
For them. Hey bro.
Right. That's funny. Yeah, so I guess so Mikey is gonna round out the 4 turtles, right? But I don't know if, like, was this a good idea to like launch the turtles so early? Like, just have like, because I think some people will collect these just to get those 4, and then they'll be like, I'm done with the line. And Super 7 had an interesting way of doing it. They would put like 1 turtle in a wave, and then they would spread out the turtles, across.
Well, they kind of did. They got up to wave 3 with the 4 turtles. And don't forget, the turtles throughout their line in the toy series for Playmates, for example, have come back in all sorts of crazy outfits.
That's true.
From astronauts to cowboys
to
samurai, turtles in disguise, a samurai. The turtles come back in so many iterations, so I wouldn't worry about it. I think the turtles are going to be the version of, He-Man and Skeletor that we get like 10 different versions of.
Right. Okay.
They're just going to keep dressing them in different outfits, and we won't have our shortage of turtles. So
you'll get like Thunder Punch Michelangelo and Terror Claws. And,
exactly.
There we go. Yeah, you know enough, Chad, that you can. Yeah, you yeah, like I'm just scratching the surface with this stuff, and you probably know more about the turtles than I do at this point, but that's
just and that's kind of one of those things. Just because I'm, and I don't want to say it's a factual statement to say I'm just a Joe guy, but Joe is my big passion. But I know stuff, I still know things.
That's good.
I was around.
Yes, yeah, weird. I think we're probably all around the same age, most of us who are probably on, tuning in as well. So that's all good.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this one. Another name on the list was Casey Jones, and using Mr. Home Arcade is one of our Toy Habits crew members. He's just also an awesome customizer who just sent over his like whole like file of customs, and so I was looking through and I was like, oh, he did a Casey Jones, sweet.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
show him.
fantastic. With that's the neck ahead, with the,
Yeah,
the cell shaded. Yeah,
yep,
it looks
yeah.
great.
Toy Sorceress, what kind of role did Casey Jones play in the turtle?
He was kind of like an ally of the Turtles, sort of like an independent guy, but he came and helped battle against Shredder and the Foot Clan. So
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So he'll be on the good guy team. He'll be one of the heroic warriors. I'm sure of it. And we knew, he was on that promo poster, but knowing now that he is officially going to be part of, well, I'm saying officially in quotes are official, right. Part of Wave 3 is really awesome. I can't wait to see how they Motu-ize Casey Jones. So
yeah, I like the way Mr. Home Arcade did it. Although he's missing some pants. He's wearing some furry underwear.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like a gray,
it's
like
kind
a gray
of disturbing to see him with.
He's kind of half dressed.
Just cut up a sock and put it on there. It'd be fine.
Yeah. I love the shirt that he put on him too. It's like mixing soft goods.
He has a crop top. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Casey Jones, he needs that muscle shirt, right? Because he's gonna go put in work with his hockey stick. So
everybody needs a muscle shirt, right? Come on. So looking forward to that one. This one was interesting. So Skeletor is another one on the list, and like Shredder in the Turtles of Grayskull crossover, he doesn't look Motu-ized aside from the like use of the legs and the arms.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see what Skeletor is going to come out.
Yeah, and he was in the mini comic that came out with the first wave, but he looked like he was in his normal appearance. I'm sure they're going to turtleize him in some manner. And then the question is, what kind of head is Skeletor going to come with? Is he going to have the articulated jaw? Is he going to have his open mouth design? Is he going to have kind of the classic look? Or are they going to tool up a whole new face sculpt for him? So that's going to be an exciting thing to see what they do to Skeletor, but very cool that he is coming in Wave 3.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting because there's Hordak, there's Skeletor, there's Shredder, and there's Krang, and then there's Splinter, right? And so I'm trying to think, does the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle side have another like presence like Splinter, like as the kind of more of the leader, or is it just Splinter?
Would it be like Yusaki Yojimbo? Isn't he the rabbit? Who's the rabbit? The samurai rabbit.
I think you're right. That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think it's Yusagi Yojimbo. Like, because he was kind of like that sage-like character as well. Yeah. Again, my turtle knowledge is not that great.
Mine is pretty much non-existent. So
yeah, Pendragon said, yeah, that's him.
Oh, cool, awesome, very good. I don't know what to make of like Skeletor because some of the figures they're mashing up, like Man-at-Arms is Man-at-Arms, but they've turtleized him, and then there's other figures like Shredder that just look like Shredder. So I don't know what their recipe is just yet. I need to see some more of the figures get produced. But the next one on the list was Teela, which is interesting because we have a couple versions of Teela in the Origins line, and she's just clad in so much armor. Like I can't wait to see what her figure comes out like.
Yeah, and they teased Teela both in the mini comic and on the back of Mouse Jaw's packaging because we already saw the artwork for that. So we know what Teela is going to look like, and she's got all of this turtle-clad armor all over her with this funky, helmet that looks like it's got a turtle shell on the top, and of course the fur in the back. So that's awesome, and it's surprising that they went with Teela and not April O'Neil. A lot of people were wondering if April was going to be, the female figure, but I'm sure they'll use Teela's buck to create April in the future wave.
That's true.
Because a lot of times April was kind of like the oracle to the Ninja Turtles, where she would tell them like, "Oh, hey, this is going on," because I'm a news reporter and I know stuff, and then they would go
Yeah.
take care of it. So yeah,
I like that.
she's very intricate in the whole Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lore. To not have her,
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure she'll be coming to the line.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, Tila was also teased on one of the card arts too, and I think
Well, that's what I said. Mouse Jaws card art.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
from that standpoint, we know like if something shows up on the card art, it's pretty much guaranteed to come. Oh yeah, which reminds me, I forget. Yeah, there was the that Shredder slime pit thing it's most likely going to be happening because we've heard some rumblings of a photo that was passed around and now it is non-existent. So
Yeah, we didn't see
weird.
Yeah, how does that happen?
It doesn't make you talk about it less,
No,
right? It reinforces. Hey,
but
that's a thing.
we called it when we saw it on the back of one of the card back arts. I forget exactly whose package that was on the back of one of the single carded Wave 1 figures.
I think it was
clear as day
Man.
that you see the slime pit on there. So
yeah,
it's coming.
Yes, sure.
But we got to get one in the Motu line, even though this one's got like it's kind of techno-dromed out. We're gonna have to get a regular one as well.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
it's just smart. It sounds fun.
It is, yeah. It is fun the way they're doing this line, and if you look at it that way and enjoy it that way, that's great. Yeah. So the single carded whatever standard wave, Casey Jones, Tila, Skeletor, and I knew I'm missing one. Like I don't need to go back.
Michelangelo,
thank you. Sorry,
that's okay.
My goldfish brain is acting up. But ask me like what I did 10 years ago to the day, I could totally tell you like it was.
It's funny because he shares your name partially.
I do, yeah, it's funny. It is. One of the interesting things though with the deluxe figures, and I don't know how they're going to make this guy deluxe. This is another Mr. Home Arcade custom, which he did an amazing job. He used a Grizzlor's buck, because of the furry outfit and just how he looks, and threw a splinter head on him and threw a gi on him.
That is freaking incredible. So for all of you who may have missed it or didn't see our post on Friday, we're getting Splinter and Leatherhead as the two deluxe figures in Wave 3. And I can't wait to see what Leatherhead looks like because he's going to be amazing. But Splinter is incredible. I doubt that they're going to make him flocked or furry. I love Mr. Home Arcade's take on him though. It's very cool to see him use Grizzlor's furry body on this. That is awesome. But so happy to see that Splinter's coming to the line. The Turtles needed their sensei, that he had to be included. And I can't wait to see what he comes with because he is going to be a deluxe figure. So he's got to be packed out with some extra stuff.
Yeah, and maybe he will be deluxe. If like I can't imagine like what pack out he's going to come with. But actually, if you think back to the deluxe figures that have been produced already, they did start to go down the Build-A-Figure line. So that's how we're going to get a Roboto version of this. So I'm wondering if the Wave 3 and 4 deluxe figures will also make another character that we don't know yet. So that's another.
Yeah, and you could see like some kind of a weapons rack and bow staff and things like that. I would love to see some wacky stuff like giving Whiplash's tail. Like this massive tail and a rat. I mean, it's wacky, but they're already crossing it over.
Yeah, or actually the Whiplash tail will probably go better with this guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Leatherhead. I think you alluded to this earlier, but yeah, I could totally see like a Whiplash kind of mashup with Leatherhead here because he's a crocodile. I forget what being Whiplash is, but some sort of tailed monster. But,
lizard guy.
And of course, we did see him teased, as you have the image there, in the mini comic, and he was wrestling mutated He-Man into a cell, or holding onto him with the chains. But we all can see there, this is proof in the pudding that Leatherhead's coming to the line, and he looks like his classic version. I hope he doesn't get too Motu eyes because I love Leatherhead as a character. I mean, having like a Cajun crocodile. Like you can't get any more classic than that. Back when I was in school in the 80s, Leatherhead was an awesome character, and then we had these like barbecue chips called crunch taters, which were also like Cajun style. So it was like all this stuff that connotated towards the Cajun alligators. I hope they keep, an awesome aspect of them like that. Yeah.
I hope Dave says Killer Croc. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what these actually look like. But I mean, if you think about it too, like with waves 1, 2, and 3, they've pretty much knocked out every single one on this like really cool graphic that they made, except for Hordak is the only one that's missing from here. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, or how the Horde shows up as turtles. I can't imagine. So I don't know.
I've always been a fan of Hordak, even though I'm not like a Motu kind of person. Just Hordak's always been rad.
He's awesome. He's very cool. Yeah, I love it's funny. I like the She-Ra and the Princess of Power Filmation series a little better than the He-Man series. And so
same. There's something about the theme of rebellion and all that stuff. Yes. And they had a lot of deep undertones in there. Like they were burning books. There was a lot of wacky stuff.
Yeah. I was surprised when I rewatched it. I think all the episodes last year or 2 years ago, and I was like, they're burning books. They're literally burning books in this episode.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god. Yep.
But yeah, there's a whole line that they could do. Like Viper Scout Horde could be from Dimension X.
Yeah.
Crunch taters, love it. But
now I want
chips. It's really interesting because like they've kind of burned through this graphic really fast, and so I'm wondering what the next one looks like.
But I guess they wouldn't tease out too much information to us, past the first 3 waves.
Right.
That's what they do.
I think what's going to happen is so around the March timeframe of each year, Mattel just drops all of these product on us. It's like it's March, and then the next time they come around is around Comic-Con, where you see a whole bunch of figures. And so we recently we're told that the Masterverse Wave 13 assortment, and so I think this is probably stuff that we're going to see come March, right? We'll see it in figure form up for pre-order probably sometime in mid-year probably. So this is looking very long into the future, kind of like the classified series and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point that Eric P makes. That stuff just writes itself, like Snake Man. Done.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, there's
they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, really interesting. Yeah, it's so funny when I heard about this, like the first time, I was like, how are they gonna do this? But I'm digging it so far. It's just kind of fun. There was a period of time like in lockdown where there was not much coming out, and so I kind of got back into the like Transformers, though their War for Cybertron figures and things like that. But I'm really enjoying what they're doing with the turtles.
Yeah, and the form factor for the turtles themselves, it just really lends themselves to working with the Motu line. So I absolutely love that, and I always circle back to this. So Mattel, if you're listening, maybe think about a Thundercats crossover as well.
Oh, geez.
It would look so cool in Origins form.
It would. Who knows?
It's a great time to be a toy collector, a lover of dollies. It is a great time.
Yes, absolutely.
Love it.
Lots of awesome dollies.
Yeah, so these
are some incredible dollies.
Jeez.
That tank's rad. They did a lot of smart updates to that vehicle.
We can roll the sucker up over here.
Oh, jeez. Just careful. Don't drop it. Don't be like Mega J and break your.
It's a beefy boy. I'm gonna pull that out again, but let's turn the headlights on. And if you hit the headlights and you kind of scroll through it. Yeah. Different things turn on. There's the front headlights, which is really awesome. And then I wish I could show you guys what the.
Oh boy!
There Careful. That was the the gunner or fell off, but she's okay.
Always happens.
She'll survive. Huh?
It always happens.
Yeah.
She's okay. The gunner made it. She's in one piece.
That's
but this
awesome.
this thing's incredible. The detail in here is just amazing. Let's see if I can actually grab my camera and show you guys like the lit cockpit, the seat belt, which is really cool. I'm gonna attempt to pull this around, and let me set my camera down for a second so I can open up the back of this sucker. Come on.
Came just in time for Hanukkah too.
I know. My husband didn't even know. He's like, what's this heavy box that came? And I was like, I don't know. and I
Jollies.
The Hasbro
Yes,
logo
Jollies.
on it. And I was like, oh, I know what it is. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back. Inside, you can see the gunner seat right there.
Oh, that's
little
cool.
Cobra logo. And then the lights turned on a second ago, and then they flipped off. So I don't know what that's about, but it does light up back here.
Yeah.
And then you can see the back tail lights, which look incredible. And then this guy is hanging out. But what I was also going to show you, and let me set down my camera for a second so I don't drop this thing. Oh, that's funny. It's something like triggers the lights inside. I wanted to also show you guys the detail on the chin guns, like just the paint applications on this. It's kind of hard to see, but do you see the kind of like the colors on that, which are just incredible, the way that they're painted, and also these top guns over here, like they have some amazing paint applications on them. And then just this cockpit is just so exquisite. It's incredible. Wow. All the detail they put on the figures. If you guys have one of these coming, like, it is amazing. And then you've got the little gull wing.
Yeah, the gull wing cockpit update was really smart. That and the
awesome.
ladders.
Yeah.
Does that jump seat in the back?
Good, I don't know. Maybe that's just mine. But see how it kind of stays open a little bit. Michael, check yours if it does that. But
okay. Chad was asking if the jump seat folds up, or does it move up or down in the back?
Yeah, I'll take a look in a sec. Let's see. Oh yeah, it does. Okay. This thing gets heavy in your hand after a couple of minutes. So let's see if I can turn the camera the right way, and then you can see that this thing moves up and down.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it slides up and down, and it does light up. I don't know what triggers. You see that? It's lit up right there. So once you get to a certain point with the landing, then the light like flips off, but it's turned on right now. So that's really cool. And then you can store all your weapons and stuff on all of these little pegs inside there as well. So it's pretty nice. And then you got a whole slew of decals, so you can customize it. And oh my god, this thing's super heavy. Oh, and the packaging was incredible on it. But they did an amazing job on this H.I.S. tank. And then you've got like all of these awesome decals that you can add. So I'm gonna be sticking a bunch of the stuff on there too.
Ironically, that's the shirt that I'm wearing, but I didn't buy one. But I still love the, I mean, they took the Cobra Moray and they kind of made it work with the H.I.S., but that's cool. It's super cool.
I love the Moray.
I love the logo design.
Yeah. All the stuff is awesome. Yeah. Great thing that Rachel did to her is it's sporting antlers, like you put on the car like during Christmas. That's funny. I love it.
Jim Largo said this H.I.S. would have totally sold out at retail. Didn't they discuss doing down the line like a stripped down, no lights, no sponson missile pods, maybe a different version at retail?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but you probably would know better than I would. Just for the classified stuff. But I wouldn't put it past them too to just kind of reuse like what they have, because it's literally like printing money.
Sure. And I mean, you could cut out the troop ramp and the jump seat and the lights and the chin guns and just like H.I.S. version 1. There you go.
Yeah. Or like H.I.S. 3. Like, that's funny. Funny story about the H.I.S. 3. I was coming home from work and decided to stop off at a Walmart, and I was just, kind of quickly going past the aisle and I saw this blue H.I.S. and I walked past it and I was like, wait, the first release was not blue, it was black. Like, what is this thing? And so I brought it home, did a review on it. Apparently this was not announced yet. And so that, I think that became one of like the most viewed reviews that we've ever done. It got like 14,000 views. And I was like, yeah. And so a lot of the comments were like, where did you get this? Like, it's not even announced. I'm like, I just picked it up at my local store.
Yeah.
It was fun. Anyway.
Go thank the busted distribution.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
it's
thank you, Walmart, and your distribution. But anyway, well, awesome. Anything else to cover off on before we wind down?
I think we're, I don't have anything else unless you do, Michael. Any amazing pickups? I did pick up a nice Catra over there on card, but she's going to get opened, and Claudine is on her way.
Nice.
So I'm super excited about that. Yeah.
How do you like that Soundwave Thunder Machine? You like it?
Oh my god, this thing is awesome. Hold on, I'll pick it up off the
So good.
At least it's not heavy.
Well, I ordered mine from Pulse, you know, so I won't see them for a couple more weeks.
Oh geez,
we're still waiting for it.
It's crazy. Yeah. Like you would think like the company that makes the thing would get it in people's hands faster, right?
You would, and I found out Pulse is third party, but yeah. Oh, he looks awesome.
And then he's got his little cassette
Ravage
tape.
was great. Yeah, Ravage was an awesome addition to that.
Yeah, and that slides back in. If I can slide Ravage back in the right spot, pop in the tape and listen to some Tears for Fears. That was my first cassette tape when I was a kid. Tears for Fears songs.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, mine was a Synchronicity album from.
I love that album. Love that album. That's awesome. So.
Yeah, that's a great looking. It's a great looking Soundwave and a good looking Thunder Machine.
It is awesome. If you want to see more photos of this, I did a really detailed review on toyhabits.com. Check it out. This thing is incredible. I mean, the colors on it are super bright when it's in its transformed mode as the Thunder Machine. It looks incredible. And the two figures that it came with, Zarana and Zartan, are just they're excellent quality. They're a little different, obviously, than the vintage versions of them. Sure. I actually appreciate the updates, and of course, Zartan does not have his color changing features, but it's really cool to have two like minty fresh O-ring versions of these guys. So a lot of fun. I think they did a great job.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good. Chad, I'm so glad that we connected, and looking forward to just talking G.I. Joe in the future. You know, for the folks that don't know you, who are, you know, maybe part of our listeners, you know, where can they find you?
You just find me right there. You know, it's just youtube.com. It's Chad. I do live streams every Wednesday and Sunday, right at 7 p.m. Eastern, and that's why we kind of linked up our streams, and it worked out for everybody. I generally just have a guest on or something like that, and we just talk dollies. You know, what do you love? What you pick up? You know, just talk some fun. I do all sorts of stuff. I build a lot of customs. I do videos on that. Sometimes I do news. I don't really do reviews or unboxings, but there are times that I will. I unbox this awesome Cobra detonator and a 1994 blockbuster. I did that. Restorations, things like that, but generally just you know, all things for the love of G.I. Joe. And my Instagram's the same. It's Chad, and you know, that's
love it.
That's what I do. I do dollies.
It's been fun having you on, Chad.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Keep dishing to us because we love hearing the news.
Yeah, we like to
keep the info flowing.
Yeah, we like to amplify news, and so it doesn't matter where it's coming from or who it is, but it's just fun to talk about. So
and I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that you know, I don't necessarily want to say was supportive, but maybe receptive of it, because I was I was very concerned about even doing that. I'm not like a, hey, it's breaking news, blah. You know, I'm not that kind of guy or channel. Well, but
That's what
it's
you got
not
us
my
for.
deal. Yeah, exactly. And it's not my thing. And
Yeah.
I didn't know. I talked to some friends, you know, other YouTubers and things like that. And I'm like, you know, what should I do? And they were like, man, just do it. Just drop it.
Just do it. Yeah.
And I did. But you know, a year ago when I talked about that Triple T thing after the Soundwave Thunder Machine was announced, I was like, oh, hey, there's also this. And people were like, you're lying, you're stupid.
Oh I hate that.
Yeah. And I'm like, I do this for fun.
Right.
Like it's my escapism from my military career and all that stuff. Like I just come out here and I'm like, yeah, look at this cheap dolly I got. but when people start getting ugly, I tend to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna back away because I don't like drama. When people bring it to my porch, I'll give it to them with both barrels, but at the same time, I'm not a fan, you know?
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah, we're not either. And you know, I think for all the stuff that we do dish on the website and on here, I think, you know, people have been receptive to it. But actually it's kind of like your story. It's like in the beginning, yeah, they were like, where'd you get this? You don't know what you're talking about. And then when the stuff started coming out, they backed away. Like, okay.
Yeah. When I did the video on that,
very good track record, haven't we, Michael? If you go back and look at our old posts, it's like we've got this stuff in plastic form in our hands that we call,
from,
you know,
going back years. Toy Habits.
I think we're okay.
Going back years. And then when that cup Triple T and I put out the video and at the bottom of the thumbnail I put, I told you so.
Love it.
Oh yeah.
Gotta have fun with that, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's like you don't pay attention to the drama and just have fun. It's all good. That's what we're about anyway. It's like we're so drama free and we love chatting with anyone and everyone and anyone who just wants to talk about the stuff that they love. And it's obviously that you have a huge passion for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how I am too. I don't care who you got beef with, but you know, that's not my deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I don't think we have beef with anyone.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
except for the brisket I made last night.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, that's the only beef.
That's the only beef I got, and it's almost gone.
Well, awesome. Awesome. It was actually great to hang out too with the folks that join in your stream because like it's just getting exposure to new people and you know everybody who you know was in the chat from your stream was amazing. Like I think everybody got along really well on this.
We cross streams and there you go. I guess.
Yeah, and
somebody had to say it.
Yeah, and there's this thing on my live streams where, like, especially this guy Big Bacon, he's my friend Patrick, and we go way back.
I'm trying to display comments, but for some reason it's not working.
He will he'll put a comment in one of my streams and he'll timestamp it. So he'll say something like that, and then he'll say at 1844, and he's a vet, so he'll put it as military time. But he'll timestamp his comments because I'm notorious for I get behind on my chat, and I'm always like a half hour behind because I like to talk to everybody. I'm not one of those like, oh, if it's not in a super chat, I'm not going to read it. You know?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But I will freaking read everything, and then I get so far.
If we had time, we would absolutely do that. Yeah. And I think guys like you and like Mega J Retro are really great at like kind of showing like all the comments.
See, he just did it. 2044, great stuff. That's what he does.
I love it.
I love it. Yeah, it's awesome.
I love it. And thank you, Big Bacon, for your service as well. I really appreciate it. Yeah, much love for all of the military folks. So it's awesome.
Definitely.
Well, good. Well, it was awesome hanging out with everyone. And yeah, as we kind of look towards the holiday season, you know what we should do next is our like whatever top figures from the last year or like and stuff looking into the future. Well, actually we just did look into the future, so maybe we did that. We're done.
Check that off the list.
Yeah, there we go.
We should absolutely do a countdown, our top 10 figures of 2024, and I'm gonna need time because I got to dig them out of the boxes in the next room. I don't know where anything is right now.
Yeah, Toy Sorceress moved houses, so it's like all of the things that she loved are packed away.
That's why you saw me setting stuff up behind me. I've been taking shelves down, putting shelves up, moving stuff around, and everything's still in boxes because I'm still
and you're just like
unpacking the house.
the
My toy room is
army
not
PCS'd us. They PCS'd us only like 4 hours. It was just like we were 4 hours down south, and they PCS'd us up here. It took me 5 months to get this room done, and I would come in here every day, and I'd be like, I guess I gotta put low light on the shelf. And then I got work, we got a kid, we got this, we got real life stuff.
Exactly.
And I'm like, no, I gotta devote an hour to my dollies. Let me go put this guy on his spot.
I can't have time to. I don't even have shelving yet, Chad. So that's why I haven't unpacked anything. I'm trying to get the rest of my house like livable and set up. I don't have shelving yet, and so that's why everything's still.
Yeah. I was out here worrying more about my dollies, and my wife's like, "Are we gonna unpack the kitchen?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, trust me, I feel your pain. I'm sorry to hear it, but it's a journey.
Yeah. It is a journey.
It is. Yeah, but you're so welcome anytime, Chad. And if you ever want to talk shop on your channel, happy to come on as well.
I'd love to.
Seems like you have a great crew of folks.
Yeah, they're okay. They're all right.
Yeah, they're all right.
We love our Toy Habits crew and all of your audience as well that joined us today. So
I love them all.
I
love them all. It's the people in the chat that make this stuff fun. Like they're the reason I do it. I don't do it to put my ugly face on on the internet.
Absolutely.
I love 100%.
Well,
thank you guys so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, anytime. You're so welcome. And hopefully everybody has a great rest of their Sunday, and hopefully people are starting to like wind down work and get into like end of the year holiday mode. So thanks for tuning in as always, and we will catch everyone next week.
And wishing everybody a happy 4th night of Hanukkah. So whoever celebrates out there.
Yes. All right, y'all. We will see you next time. Have a good one.
Have an awesome day.